thought I would just talk about like how I think about sound, because that's sort of like the foundation of how I approach everything I do, because there's sort of two aspects of it. There's thinking of every sound as an instrument, and so like when I do my weird like found sound stuff, every sound that I make, instead of like trying to, I don't know, just trying to mess with it, a lot of the times, if it already sounds like something, like that's like a snap or a clap, then that's how I'm going to use it. And that's just something that I've found is really helpful when you're kind of experimenting. And you know, I think a lot of us like to explore with sound, and maybe we make something super crazy when we're playing around with a plugin or whatever, and then we're like, how would this actually work in a track? It's just a crazy sound. But you know, if you equate it to traditional instruments that already exist, sometimes that gives you a nice clue about where it can be used, or where it, you know, it could already clearly has been demonstrated that there's musical value in it. But also, don't let that stop you from just like being totally weird with it. And then the other thing that I'll say is like, I kind of think of music as this big box, and you've got your like these different axes. So like low to high is just the spectrum of frequencies, you know, bass to treble, the whole range of human hearing, and then left to right is like where you pan stuff and where you position stuff, and then there's also like this forward and backward axis that's like about space, and you know, how close to the listener do you want an instrument to be, or does it need to be far? And then you kind of, every element you're positioning in this like 3D thing, and maybe you know, you just know that you want to feel something subtly, not right up front, and it's got to be like more just in the high end and the low end. It's got to be like there in the box, not like here. So that's just something that I feel like I'm always on some level kind of thinking of as I'm trying to weave all the things together. Because sometimes you're working on something and it sounds kind of flat, and then you realize, oh, everything's like right here. Like it's all just down the middle. Everything's got like, it's in the same register. And I think something that you know, I didn't learn for a long time, and I think probably a lot of people don't learn for a long time, is that you can do all this fancy mixing and EQing and like trying to spread stuff out, or you know, carve out different frequencies, but actually like the way you write your parts can do so much more to create that kind of fullness that you want often in a track, while also having a lot of things in there, but not competing with each other. So that's something that I'll think about a lot. Like if I'm having a real hard time mixing something and I just feel like, oh, I'm trying to like be really fancy with this EQ, usually what I end up doing is just changing the part. And like, I'll move it an octave, I'll just like rewrite the whole thing. Maybe that instrument just needs to come out and be replaced by something else. Maybe that instrument just needs to come out and not even be there. And it's so funny sometimes to like work on a track and you have this instrument that's going through the whole thing. A lot of the times I've noticed it's like the instrument I started a song with. And then I just take it out. I'm like, wait, it's better without that, which is kind of weird because that's where everything else came from, but you got to play with that sometimes.